Hi everyone, our video today is how to implement the hierarchy of supportive consequences with your students. So this sounds quite lengthy and maybe quite difficult, but there's 5 steps to it that I'll run you through. And once you start putting this in place really consistently, it can be really easy to do and become second nature, and it just creates a really calm, collaborative approach to supporting students with their difficult behaviour in the classroom. So step number 1, when one of your students are showing any unexpected behaviour, so that could be things like calling out, not starting their work, a little bit of non-compliance, always try and use differential reinforcement. So as a little reminder to them, without actually acknowledging them, just pick out the class who are doing the right thing. So thank you to everybody who sat on their seat, or well done everybody making a really good effort getting started on their writing. So you make no acknowledgement to the student who is engaging in unexpected behaviour, but for some students that might just be enough as a subtle reminder, hey, I want to be praised too, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. The second step is then to give that individual student a non-verbal reminder. So this is really subtle and discreet, not to pick them out into the class in front of everybody. But as you're walking around the classroom, if you're teaching at the time, you could very subtly put your finger on your lip as a reminder to them, or you could just point to their workbook that they need to be doing. If you are standing at the front of the classroom teaching, again, you could just put your finger to the lip if it's because they're calling out. Some sort of a non-verbal reminder that doesn't single them out too much. Then the third step, if steps 1 and 2 are not effective, is to give them a verbal reminder. If possible, it's always better to do this individually rather than in front of the whole class. Obviously, I know sometimes this can be really hard to do, but try and do that first. So go up to them, onto their level, and give them a do instruction. So really try and refrain from telling them to stop doing something. It's much more effective if we tell our students what they should be doing instead. So you need to start your first sentence, or you need to sit calmly on your chair. You need to put your hand up if you want to ask me something, that sort of instruction. Again, if step 3 is not successful, then you really, as a teacher, want to try and get curious about why your student is showing unexpected behaviours continuously. Is there an underlying reason? Are they acting out because, for example, the work is too tricky? Some students use this as an avoidance technique. If the work is too tricky, they don't know what to do, they don't feel comfortable, they don't know how to ask for help, then they start acting out. Could it be that there have been some issues at home that morning, or ongoing issues that actually this student needs a little bit of one-to-one time with another adult that they feel comfortable with? Could it be that actually this student is not getting a lot of attention at home and they're just really craving that attention from their peers or from a teacher? So really try and think what's going on with them. And then offer them some assistance. So if you think it's because actually they're finding the work really tricky, whether it's you or another adult in the classroom goes over to them and helps start them off with their work. So give them a little bit of intervention if possible. If it's because actually they're having a really difficult time in their personal life, so maybe if it's possible, rather than a time out, so having a check-in with another safe adult that they feel comfortable with. Doesn't have to be very long, doesn't have to disturb their learning too much, but hey, if they're not learning in the classroom, they need to have that time with an adult that's going to be more beneficial. Then once you've given them that assistance, if that's still not helpful and actually this student is finding things really, really difficult, their behaviour is really quite challenging and they're really escalating, then that's when you're going to try and support them with a calm down spot. So always try and have a predetermined space in your classroom first of all, so they're not being segregated. Obviously we know this can't be too disruptive to other children in your classroom, but if manageable, have somewhere in your classroom that you could direct them to with some calming activities. Try and help them to de-escalate, and if there's another adult that can go with them. If this isn't possible and actually that it's not appropriate for them to be in the classroom. Don't use it as a punishment base where they're being told to leave, but just say, you're finding things quite tricky at the moment. I would like you to go and sit outside with another adult or to do a different activity and to have that time to calm down. And then once that student is calm, always then have them come back to the classroom and return to the work that they were doing. Try not to take away break times, things like that, and offer punishments, because actually if that student has got to step 5, they obviously really are very dysregulated. They're not able to control their feelings, and they just need to have some support to help them calm down and then return to the activity. So they are the steps of the hierarchy of supportive consequences. Lots of research is behind them, and they can be very effective in your classroom. We will send you the attachments for these so you can put them up somewhere as a nice reminder and a prompt for yourself of how to use these with students in your classroom.